Spiritually gifted women are doing more healing than ever, yet many are still exhausted, second guessing themselves, and wondering why their income never reflects the depth of their gifts. Today's conversation uncovers the missing half of the spirituality that almost nobody teaches. Once you see it, you'll understand why so many intuitive women stay stuck despite doing everything right. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to empower coaches and entrepreneurs to amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head on over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, we are chatting with Carrie Waring. Carrie is a psychic medium, soul coach, author, and creator of the Sacred and Sassy Wealth Code. For more than 2 decades, she helped spiritually gifted women reclaim their spiritual authority, trust their own guidance, and build soul aligned businesses that create real impact and sustainable income. Her upcoming framework, The Mystic's Way, challenges conventional spiritual teaching by showing women how to move beyond simply connecting with spirit to living and leading as the spirit they truly are. Welcome to the show, Carrie. It's great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you, Jill. I'm excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. So let me ask you the big question. What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Really, quite simply, I think one of the favorite things that I do and I've done for a really long time is as I wake up in the morning before I get out of bed, I just lie there, put my hand over my heart and just have what I call a daily soul conversation. And right now, I've been asking, how does spirit need to move through me today? And I just then go with the first thought, feeling, impression that comes through. It might take a little bit to kick in, and you can change the question. It can be things like, how can I love myself today? Just how can I receive today? And for me, it's just a direct access. Because of that, I've been able to develop a dialogue with my higher self over the years. And I think it really puts us in that place of coming from that part of us that is the divine. And I think when we can move through that and start our day with that, then it just, that part of who you are just expands and grows. And that's the kind of thing that we can, simple, but I guess it's the simplest way that I can help you move that more into your life.
Love that. And when you start out your day believing ultimately that it's a good day, it's going to be a good day. And maybe you're just focused on one aspect of it, just any aspect of it that you just make the determination is going to go well for you, it spreads out. It's not like it just affects you, it affects the people that you're around and that you run into, whether they're close family or people that you meet on the street. They they feel that energy that comes off of you.
Yeah, and I guess there's a big vibe around that in thinking about the energy that we bring to not just our lives but our work. And like you said, it goes out to everyone that we connect with. And I think also too, we tend to not always realize that that even has an effect on how we show up online.
For sure. You say the spiritual industry has only taught us half the story. What exactly is the missing half, and how does that affect women trying to build a business?
Well, I had an interaction with spirit not too long ago. I had it was earlier this year, and I was sitting down and been writing, but I wasn't really 100% clear on the purpose of the writing yet, even though it's been 10 years between books. And anyway, I was writing about my relationship with spirit and writing about how there has been plenty of times where I've questioned everything. I've been on my knees, I've told an angel to F off out of frustration. And in this moment, they actually said to me, it's that questioning comes because you don't know who you truly are. And normally when they've said that to me in the past, and we often associate that with our sense of self-worth, right? But in that moment, I knew it wasn't that. In that moment, I knew that they were actually talking about, I don't know who I am as the spirit that we truly are. And there is that really common phrase that we all know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? But how many times we approach it from the human aspect and try to reach the spirit world, right? Whereas I guess what I'm saying is, no, we are spirit first. And when we actually operate in that framework, outside of our human experiences and our human circumstances, and work with that and position ourselves from that perspective, then everything else shifts and changes then. And we then flow a lot more easily. So hence my daily soul conversation of how does spirit need to flow through me today? And once I sort of started to understand that, and I guess for a medium with a foundation in evidential mediumship, which is, providing proof of the afterlife and connecting with loved ones, there's that view of, to achieve that, we need to raise our vibration and to be able to communicate with the spirit world. And in essence, they will come down to meet us. Well, my approach is different to that. And I guess I'm using this as an example to illustrate the differences, that if I am spirit, then in the world of energy, in the spiritual energy, I'm already connected. I'm already there. There is no reason for me to raise my vibration because I'm connected in a sense of oneness, and it's already there. And that's just one small example. And I guess for me, once I sort of started, I shifted my worldview essentially, then what started happening was I then found the book I need to write, and it was coming through, and that is called The Mystic's Way. And it's a way of living and using your mediumship. My understanding of how then my shamanic soul and my connection to the universe shifted. And it really mediumship became, let's not just practice it, let's actually live it. And what I see in the mediumship arena and the psychic arena for psychics, mediums and healers, we all have a lot of businesses all doing the same thing. There's a vast majority of a sea of sameness. And that's where the struggle comes in, because how do we stand out where, people have a view of almost all psychics and mediums do the same thing, right? We do readings, we run workshops, that's it. But for me, once we sort of tap into the spirit that we are, there's a different purpose sitting behind your spiritual abilities. And that purpose, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, that purpose is usually rooted in your life journey. And
I
that's
was
the
just
thing
gonna,
that, sorry.
okay, that's okay. I was just gonna say I was gonna reinforce what you're talking about, and that knowing we all have spiritual gifts. We all come here with gifts, and I think most of us are probably psychic, but we don't realize that for whatever reason, we're just like, well, yeah, no, that's for somebody else. But um, knowing what our purpose is and how we fit in the world, because we're just one piece of a larger tapestry, it's 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 really the key to shining in the way that you were meant to shine, even though you're still the thread that goes in whatever space on the big tapestry that you go on. And there's going to be a lot of other threads that are similar to you, but they're not all exactly the same. We're all different.
Exactly. Yes. But what we see in this spiritual community is a lot of, we're all practicing in the same way and bringing the same talents, mostly in the same way. And that's what's making spiritual businesses a challenge, firstly. But we're only just coming to this place where it is about the evolution of that. And what I've seen when I've done work over the years is, you know, ideas coming through for clients where imagine a world where our psychic and our mediumship ability is every day, right? And what that means is, I know I had one client, and what came through for her, she was a radiologist. So she would do ultrasounds on babies. And imagine being able to take your mediumship and combine that with that role where a medium could communicate with that baby in utero. And imagine young couples being able to go and, hey, I'm going to see this medium because this is what she can do. She can give me an ultrasound with my baby, like everyday stuff that can be merged with that. We can be.
Didn't Edgar Casey say that there was going to be a time when we would all, or not, maybe not all of us, but there would be a large portion of the population in the world that would see the other side, that the veil would thin so much that it would be common for people to see other dimensional beings in our space.
And I'm not sure, I can't confirm that because I haven't read enough about him. Saying that, I actually have a book upstairs ready to to
Pretty
read
sure he
about him,
did.
so I'll let you know. But I honestly believe that too. So, like, even imagine, at the moment, like the death duelers, if they can expand into mediumship, imagine what that can be. And I know over the years when I've coached mediums, they've moved into counselors and they've moved into, care roles and using their mediumship without having to um, declare it, I guess, but they'll still use the information. And I honestly believe that Edgar Casey's right. And I know for me, I used to own the Australian College of Mediumship only for a few short years. And when that ended, which was back in 2008, so nearly, 18 years ago, Spirit said to me then, you're going to go off and do something, but then you're going to come back. And it's about the evolution of mediumship. And that 18 years, I've spent largely in struggle myself,
Mhm.
spent largely trying to find what's my purpose, how do I, grow a business. And it's been a business that's been stuck because I'm only really coming to my purpose now. And I've needed to grow into the person that is brave enough to stand up and say what I'm saying.
I
To
can imagine for you even like Etsy shop sellers who say they sell cloth that other seamstresses use, and they could, if they embraced their mediumship skills, have a whole piece that goes with the material thing that you're giving someone. Like there's energy that was imbued into the cloth by the people that created the cloth, because everything that we possess has energy from the people were that touched it along the process of it coming into being. um or you know, plumbers. Okay, this is going to be really out there, but you were talking about death doulas. How about if you go to your mortician and they allow you to have your recently deceased person help in the whole process of setting up your funeral for them? I mean, there's just like so much that could be gained from having access and teaching people how to use the the gifts that they have, but also incorporated into the money making things that they're already doing.
And 100%. And I guess at this point, I really need to point out that I was not someone born with psychic or mediumship ability,
Mhm.
right? So I didn't have psychic premonitions as a child. I didn't see dead people walking around. For me, when I was 20, 25, 26, I lost my brother to suicide. And so that was, over 30 years ago, but it was the catalyst for my spiritual awakening. And what that meant was, oh, you could learn to be psychic. And it just went from there. And so if I can do it, then I believe anyone can. And I guess my journey of coaching and mentoring others to that has also proven that that's the case. And I think more and more that in itself is becoming the everyday, but we are essentially still just teaching people to practice it and not necessarily how to live it and how to bring it through into the mainstream in our world. And that at this point does take some courage.
Yeah, but I can feel it moving.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just like, and I think it's going to become much more mainstream in the next year or two than even it is right now. Probably because I talk to people all the time that are in this world, and so it seems like it's everywhere to me, but it's like when you buy a black car, all the cars are black.
And look, it's everywhere to me too, but then there's these moments where I just go, you come across someone and then you realize, oh, I forget, like that there's still that worldview out there that it's it's still unusual or it's still not completely mainstream, but compared to where it was when I had my spiritual awakening, it has grown and become and evolved and become much more mainstream. Is going to continue. And I think this is the shift we're going to see. The shift we're going to see is for it to be coming into the everyday and
Mhm.
for us to be living it and becoming and living the spirit that we are and knowing that. And even as I say that to you, I just get those goosebumps coming through my body to just go, yes, that's it.
I
And
love the connectedness of it. It's we are all connected. We are all one. And I think as this becomes more mainstream, people will start to push back against the old guard where, you have to have an enemy, otherwise we have no reason for doing all these destructive and horrible things.
yeah,
Um, and we have to have countries so we can tax all over people and just,
yeah.
I'm an anarchist, okay?
Yeah.
Totally believe that we should just live here and explore and
Yeah,
be
and
be
like
beings.
exactly. And I think once we sort of connect and live from that space,
Mhm.
then what happens is our unique purpose, we deepen into that and it unfolds itself. And for a spiritual woman in business, that then sort of starts to help us differentiate from the sea of sameness. And it's the attraction point where people want to come to you because you're helping solve that problem, which has highly likely been a major theme in your life. Because I always say to people that how you're going to help people, you are the case study for that. You know,
So true.
exactly. So, and I think when we can sort of own that, and I've really right now been feeling that shift. So, if there is someone out there that is listening and going, I've been feeling stuck for the last 15 years or so, know that it's the point in time where the conversation needs to change from how do I heal myself to how do I turn this into helping humanity and serving others. And that will be your point of difference.
You created the Sacred and Sassy Wealth Code to help women uncover their unique expression of spirit. How is this different from simply finding a niche or building a personal brand?
Again, this came from a conversation with Spirit. And when I first came into my psychic abilities, I spent 7 years doing aura readings and using color pencils to sort of, clairvoyantly look at someone's aura and move through that. And then they got put aside as I moved into evidential mediumship. And then about just over a year ago or so, I had I was working in a part-time job that was financially supporting me, and I had a day of struggle. So I sort of just go, you know what, I'm going to go home, and I went to bed, as we do sometimes. And in that moment, this download from spirit just came in about the aura and how they were telling me I have the capacity to look at someone's aura and see a layer of the aura that is mapped to how well someone is manifesting or not, right? To what they're trying. What are the blocks, I guess? And I sort of see it as a hole in that web, you know. And from that, with the colors that I could see, I developed 10 archetypes that all give me an understanding and a message around someone's purpose. So that's really, for example, I'm a healer archetype, which for me is green. And when I say talking about healing, I don't just mean what I do as a medium or a Reiki healer. It's I walk with that every single day in every moment. And therefore my soul gravitates towards that. So it's understanding how to we often as healers will overgive or undercharge, so it's working that balance. It's the empath as well, Um, there's the architect, which is the red in the aura. And there's someone that often likes to build foundations, have their savings and, buy their house and build their foundation in that way. But then when they're out of balance with that, it really comes about because they're doing that out of safety. But it's when we understand this part of our soul and understand how that actually links to what I call our spiritual pre-birth plan and our purpose, that then we deepen into that, we bring that into our spiritual businesses, and it creates a natural flow of abundance. So, there are 10 of those archetypes. And often what I see, especially in the um, mediumship arena, is many people are actually coming at it from the mind and playing someone else's mediumship playbook instead of coming in and going, okay, well, what does my soul actually say I need to do with this? Is it be the messenger and write a book? Is it take these ideas and inspirations, and they're not just meant for me, they're meant for other people too, Um, there's a whole range of that. And while that's new into the world, it's, I guess, one simple tool that people can get access to that is going to help them deepen into the spirit that they truly are and the purpose behind their spiritual abilities.
I love this that you have this ability to work with people around their aura, but it's not like, okay, here's your number and this is the cubbyhole that you have to fit in. It's like, here's your number. It could look like this or it could look like that. Could be, wobbly. It could be super bright, and you're not just assigning a label to them. You're giving them a framework and in a lot of ways permission to move into what they're here to do. And I love the whole love messages we send to ourselves before we come here, and hopefully we'll figure out what they mean
And
before it's
I
too
guess
late.
and I guess that what I'm doing is bringing through doorways into accessing that information,
Yeah.
really. And so,
Translators.
yeah, like, so I'm sort of, and really for me that stuff is my inspiration from spirit. And yeah, I'm not here to say, hey, do what I say. I'm here to say, let me show you this tool, and then you go and work with it with your relationship with spirit and find your own truth.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you are going to experience the spirit that you are.
Yeah, I love that. It feels in a way like tarot or oracle cards, but it's like everybody can see the same image, but it doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. It's like when you look at it, it's a message for you. It's not necessarily predicting anything. It's just saying, think about this. This showed up, and to me, it could be any card. It's totally random to me, but it's the interpretation from spirit through our intuition that gives it meaning and helps us really take control of our lives.
100%. And I think that taking control is the just deepening into your authentic self.
Yeah.
And but for me, I guess the authentic self has that term when we collectively, when we think about it right now, we think about it as the authentic self of who Kerry is as a human, right? Who am I in my personality? Who am I in what do I like? You know, what routines do I like? Who do I need to be? How do I need to express myself? Right. Whereas for me, my authentic self has that added layer of my spirit self, and how does that need to be in relationship with the universe? And for me, I say to people, I have a soul that remembers the many lifetimes I've had as a shaman. And so my connection to the universe and my mediumship. While I've never trained as a shaman, it has a natural inclination, and that's the way that I need to work. So I do bring through inspiration and ideas, and it needs to then go out into the world in some form. But it might be that I'm creating a ritual for people. It also might be, like I've moved house in the last couple of years, and we've got a block with a lot of bush in it. And so when I came here, I did go out and drum, and I did talk to the animals and let them know that they were welcome. You know, it meant that we had a possum ending up in our air conditioning duct, but you know,
We saw
it
matching
means
rabbits this morning on our
it
walk.
means, yeah, for me, it means that kind of presence in the world, I guess. And then it flows through and heals the world in some capacity. And that's just who I need to be. And I'm sort of saying, hey, here's these tools for you to help you take it to that level, to help you really experience how you need to be in this world as a medium, as a spirit, as a human.
Spirit having a human experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
At the beginning, you mentioned there's a missing piece keeping so many intuitive women burnt out and underpaid. If someone listening realizes they're caught in that cycle today, what's the very first step they can take to reclaim their spiritual authority and finally build a business that reflects the true value of their gifts?
I would say that it would be do my Sacred and Sassy Wealth Code AI experience. That's for me a defining point and a defining tool. It's the most simple thing that I can offer someone that says, hey, did you know this about yourself? Did you know um, your, your soul map and your purpose? But also in that experience, you'll be giving the three most common blocks. Like I find a lot of people, there's an archetype called the devoted, and it's that person in the family that is there holding everyone up. They come from love, but they're often doing it to their own self-sacrifice and supporting everyone else, and their needs get on the back burner, you know. And some of us all have a thread of that in some way. But it's not until you understand that about yourself and really see that, then you can create more balance, and you might find that there's another archetype that actually needs to show up in that, you know. So that would be the first thing that I would say, is discover that about yourself and really sit with it and question it. And I can give you that information and that experience.
Would you say that it changes or can change over time? Because I know we go through, especially as women, we go through seasons in our lives where I think our souls are called to different expressions. Like motherhood lasts about 20 years. And after that, your kids are their own people. And, it's not that you don't connect with them still, but um, they they're off doing their thing. And so our expression of our soul purpose changes, I think. Do you find this or am I?
Oh, 100%. And that's been my experience too. And I guess there is that in the witch world, there is the maiden, the mother, and the crone for
Mhm.
those reasons. Um, and I think, yes, as life circumstances change, our soul then seeks to heal. The soul naturally seeks to heal who we are. It naturally seeks to then heal our world. And that can go from, is it you know, trauma that we've experienced in the past, something in our childhood. Um, but I tend to say, what happens is, yes, we work through all of that and then new shit happens, you know, and we've got to
Yes,
work
yes,
through
it does.
that. Um, and I would certainly say that the spiritual space has been really good at teaching us to focus on that. But it can also be a little bit dangerous in that fact that we're taught to sort of go, oh, there's something wrong in life, it's not working. So I look inside, I've got to change who I am, what's wrong with me, I've got to change something. And what that did for me was actually set me up into a cycle of struggle because I'm healing, I fix that, I have that growth, I then something else is not working, so you're just repeating the cycle. And that falls in line with that phrase of you are enough, and we're told we're enough, but then we're also told, hang on a minute, we've got to heal and it's not working, we've got to look at this. And I guess,
Part of that is like giving ourselves permission to be healed. You're healed. Go forth
yeah,
and do what you're here to do. Heal somebody
that's it.
else.
And if we actually come from spirit, if we know that part of who they are, and this is in this moment, as I'm saying this to you, this is something that spirit wants everyone to know, right? They are saying that when you come from spirit, you are whole, right? So you're right, you are healed. You are whole in that moment. Yes, it's our human circumstances that creates all of those fractions. But if you come back to the fact that you are spirit first, you'll heal through joy,
It
not
becomes
struggle.
it becomes more of an experience rather than a trauma. And I think part of the development of souls as human beings is that we look at something that we say hurt us, and rather than looking at it as an experience that we're having, and I believe that we ask to have these experiences. We come here to have these experiences. Don't be blaming your parents for this crap. I did it too. But ultimately, we get what we came here to get, and we realize somewhere along the line that it was the experience that drew us into recognition of what we're here to do. So we can express that to the world and shine our light in the way that we're here to shine our light. And if we get stuck in the woe is me, I'm a victim mentality, we never get to that point where we're not only our own heroes, but we're heroes to others because we can shine the light and say, come on over, it's fine here. You can you can start having experiences instead of traumatic events that you have to
Yes,
move through.
and even in that, we can be that example of helping people think differently,
Mhm.
you know. And I know for me, even for myself, yeah, there's been plenty of times I've been stuck in that. Hey, what's wrong? Why isn't this working? Like the spiritual gurus have told us, it's just mindset and, just think positively. And what I sit here knowing now is it was never about really soul alignment. I was always in soul alignment. I just didn't like the, the journey that was needed, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know that all of that frustration, all of that having other jobs to support my income, questioning it all along the way is the gift because I sit here now with the understandings that I sit here with now and can write a book called The Mystic's Way. And to spirit, that was always the reason. But I couldn't see it, you know. So, whereas I think if there had have been more, I was in my spirit self far more. If spirit had have just stepped in and said, hey, you know, like, think about it from this way, I would have known my purpose far more succinctly.
But it always happens in the perfect timing. And it's not, it wasn't supposed to be until now.
Yes, because I wouldn't have gained the knowledge, wouldn't have grown into this person that is actually now prepared to step out and say, hey, we need to think about this a little differently.
Mhm. And join in with others who are also, it's like we're all
Yes.
coalescing at the same time. So the impact is much greater. And, there have been lights all along. Edgar case is a good case in point, but now there's just like a lot of lights. It's like twilight in the sky. You see one or two stars, and then suddenly the whole sky is full of stars.
Yeah. And
It's
and
happening with
it
humanity.
probably, yeah, and for a lot of people it might look like that at the moment that they're questioning. They're questioning who they are. They maybe they've been in the space for, 5 years or something, but they're questioning their beliefs. They're questioning,
Mhm.
how does it need to be different? Why isn't this coherent? Why isn't this sitting 100%? And that's a good thing, you know.
Mhm.
Keep, keep questioning your truth. And all of that then comes into how you choose to show up in the world.
Perfect. So, Carrie, how do people get in touch with you and how can they find the Sacred and Sassy Wealth Code?
Well, they can go to the Sacred and Sassy Wealth Code is actually on my website. Um, it's kerrywaring.com, wealth code AI, and we'll put those in the links wherever you're
I
listening.
definitely will do that.
Yep. And they can also find me on Substack. I have a sacredsoulpreneur.substack.com. It's a publication for sacred and sassy soulpreneurs, all of us who are running spiritual businesses. And it's there to support all of us bringing, our truth out into the world, and certainly for psychics, mediums, and healers. So they're the spaces where they can find me, as well as I do have a school community.
And what's your school community?
It's S&S for Sacred and Sassy, Soulpreneurs Rising. So
We'll put
again,
that link in too.
yeah, it's there to support people to bring through their truth, their spiritual talents, and serve others, but in a way where you are being supported by the universe too. And with that, I mean that means we need money, and it's get paid and, live in abundance with it, because that's essentially for me what we're all here to do, is to experience life as that. So,
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Carrie.
oh no, thank you, Jill. Thank you for having me. And, like, yeah, just grateful to be able to share this with others. So thank you for providing that opportunity.
You can learn more about Carrie and find her Discover Your Sacred and Sassy Wealth Code by visiting carriewaring.com/wealth code-AI. And please consider subscribing to her Substack at sacredsoulpreneur.substack.com. And we will put those links in the description below, as well as the link to her school community. Thank you for tuning in with us today. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head on over to thecoachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Join us for the next episode as we share what others are doing to raise a global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.